Hey guys, I'm just gonna walk you through a really cool, simple animation trick that I have sort of learned early on in my animation career. Originally, this was taught to me by a Pixar animator named Robert Rust back in like 2002 or something. And I was lucky enough to get a tour of Pixar, and he mentioned that I was talking about animating tentacles, and he was like, "What's cool is you can just create a pose and then just offset the keyframes by a few frames, and you can get a really cool sense of overlap without like really thinking about it too much." Because and as an example, I'll walk you through the steps on this, but just to get your head wrapped around it. If you look at the X rotation, that's this red thing here. I think I missed one here. Did I move the first one? I think I offset the first one more than the others. But anyway, we'll get to that in a second. You can see how the curves are all sort of synced up with each other, but they're the same anim, but they're just moved over a little to create this like cool sense of overlapping action. Anyway, let's get into it. It actually is really fast to do, which is why it's fun, and I like showing people. Here is the rig with nothing adjusted on it. So this is the rig if you want to download it. Ultimate Tailed, made by the same group that worked on these guys, and these are pretty popular rigs. I really like using this rig if you ever get a chance to mess with it. Anyway, so let's do this. I'm going to set a key on 0, set a key on 40 so we know they're the same, set a key on 20, move this down a little bit so it goes up and down. Grab this guy. We're going to loop on both sides, so loops forever. I'm going to go out to, well, we'll just drag this. So we know, bam, that's looping. Grab all of the tailed controls. Key at 40, key at 0. Actually, we'll go down on the up. Middle mouse drag, so it's the same. Up on the down. And then do the same thing. Loop that sucker. Alright. So you'll notice initially that doesn't really have a lot of flow because both objects are just kind of hitting a pose at the exact same time. And there's no real sense of overlap, but right now the actual keys I'm using are super simple, which is I think what makes this a fun little tip. So I'll start, all I'm going to do is grab all 3 of these guys. I might have just duplicated that on accident. I'm going to go selected attributes. I'm only going to show the rotation, X rotation, just to make it easier to work with. On the graph editor, go over here. Okay, so I've only got the tail. I don't have the first tail, I just have the other ones. I'm just going to move it over like 4 frames. Let's just do 5 because the math's easier. I haven't tried 5, but it should be fine. So I'm just moving them all over successively. Did I do it right? Not sure. I might have messed it up. Let's see. I think we're good. The first one's a little bit moved further than the others, but this actually looks like what it looked like a second ago, so I think we're okay. Yeah. Pretty cool. So yeah, all I did, I love how simple that is. All I did is just make 2 poses on the tail that's reversed direction on where the ball is on the keyframes, and then just offset some of the joints back, and you end up getting this like super cool, simple, flowy animation, and it was just a couple of clicks. And then you can go from there and you can make it more interesting. You can add some like side to side and you can add some twirls. And every time do the same process. You know, if you just do side to side, might as well do it since this went so quickly. Let's see what happens. So we'll go, let's do it on a new animation layer. So if, I haven't showed animation layers to people, but I'm gonna I'll show another issue that I always run into on this rig. I want to box select this rig so I can just grab all the controls really quickly. But what I notice is when I have things selected correctly, I'll see either white or green on the screen. In this case, when I box select, it's not showing it that way because there's some object on this rig it's selecting. So I'm just going to go and hide all the things and unhide just what I want to select. So NURBS curves, polygons, subdivision. No, I think that then NURBS curves, NURBS surfaces, and polygons. Okay, cool. So now when I box select, now it when I box select, now it lets me grab the whole thing. Cool. So animation layers, if you use Photoshop before, they work very similar to how Photoshop works. So I don't want to kind of mix up my keyframes on the action. So I have the up and down action, like the vertical action. I'm going to layer on, that's display layer. We're going to go to anim layer. This guy says create layer from selected. So I have all the controls selected. So it has a little green light, so that's telling me, this little green guy is telling me whatever I have selected is on that layer. So like this, the root of the rig, for example, doesn't have any feedback on this layer system. Oh, it's not keyable. Let me do something else. Create sphere. Here we go. So you can see that it doesn't show up on this layer because it's not in the layer. So if I right click and go add selected, then it can be in the layer. Oh, I don't want to do that. I wanted to get rid of the sphere. And then I'm going to make this layer the horizontal offset. And then if I was smart, I could have just started with a layer and the vertical could have been the vertical could have been one layer and horizontal could have been the other, but we should be fine anyway. Because what's happening is, like, so I've had the rig selected, I see all these keyframes, and then I'm on the horizontal layer, I'm only dealing with keyframes on that layer. So go to 20, move it over here. There's a way to set the color on the layer. Mute, solo, layer mode. Where did it go? Layers. There's a way to like set. I'll find this layer and post it. Might do it. There's a way to set the keys so they show up as a different color, but I forgot how. Oh, there it is. You right click anywhere. No, right click on this little dot guy, and I'll select like something bright, like green. Okay, so now I can see on the time slider it's red for the base layer, it's light green for the top layer. Okay, so we have left and right, horizontal, grab these guys. I'm gonna set, so wait, might as well do this from top view so it's nice and clean. That side, and then delete S, so I know 0 and 40 are the same. And then I'll go this way. That might not be super clean because of the axis I'm rotating on. So I'm actually gonna start over, 0 key layer. Let me check the graph editor. I think I want to turn you off, just show rotation. Uh-oh, there's Patrick. Maybe I went too far. Should have stopped earlier. 20. Back. And then we can graph editor, loop it. I think I needed to loop this one too. I think it was these two. Nope, it's not looping. I think I need to go to translation, probably. Loop it. Okay, so I have the simple keys moving like that. Let's find out what the curves look like. Cool, it should be just rotate Y. Let's check them. Yeah, they're basically all on top of each other. That's good. Do the same thing. Let's move them 5 frames. 2, 3, 4, 5. F. Grab just 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't need to be exact. I think the first time I probably double moved the first tail. It just has to have some frames. It looks like I missed the pre-infinity on the first go around. You can see it's flat right there. Okay. And then usually, because all the keys are all lined up for everything, so everything on this layer, I'm going to just grab all of it and move it like 10 frames or 20 or something. So that way it kind of offsets itself from the two actions. And then you kind of try and find a nice balance between the two. Uh-oh, I missed the thing. Missed the tail. One of these is right on top of each other. This is what happens when you don't prep stuff. Aha. I think that's good right there. Yeah, so you're just looking like for this cool like wave feeling of stuff. 'Cause it's math, man. Okay. Now I can select objects, graph editor, grab all the curves, everything keyed, and then let's find a spot that we like. This is default. And move it into the timeline. Yeah, get rid of the graph editor. Almost there. See how it's starting to like look round? Yeah. And then maybe the amount I'm translating is too much for the rotation. Probably. And then I'll move this to the middle. That way everything's kind of centering around the middle of the scene. Sometimes you have to do that on your rotation data, but maybe I'm okay. Looks like it's kind of balanced. Let's see what that looks like. Pretty good. So you can see like the power that all of this stuff has in conjunction if you're working on a anim and you kind of have an understanding of just overlapping curves. You can get some neat stuff. And you could start like banking the main ball if you wanted. I could keep working on this for a while because it's pretty fun. You could start like keying the weight of the layer, for example, which is over here. I think it's, what is it? Insert key. Come on. Nope. Do you have to select it? I don't know how to do that. I'll just throw some keys in this way. I don't know if I want to turn it off completely, but I do want to like move it up and down. A little, get some variety in my movement. This is just turning the layer on or off. Make sure the start and end are the same value, otherwise you'll get a popping. I don't really know how this will look. I'm just kind of messing with it. It's fun. It's gonna be awesome. That's one. Just trying to mix it up a little bit. Yeah, man. So, yeah, it does have a snap. Something's not multiple, maybe 400, because everything's a multiple of 40. This might be okay. Let's see. Yeah. So this is a nice clean loop again, because it's the whole anim's around 40, 0 to 40. I think this is 24 FPS file. Yeah, so you can add a lot of cool stuff going on just by some simple stuff. I think for the exercise, if you guys are new to this, just that first beginning exercise, that's just the vertical offset. I mean, you saw how quickly I did it. I've done that a few times to show people over the years. But yeah, it's pretty cool trick. All right, see you guys later.